Sermon on the Mount has from the series 6 and 7. It is marked. It's not an individual. Wants us, God, what cult in English ministry that is planted as we are in this journey, this spiritual community, strangers, and creating a culture, building a spiritual, and that's where we all together. It's a picture of what it means to be a disciple. It is a picture of a life together more than a life individually, but the Lord's Prayer. And it's just in simple remembrance, it's not an individual thing. It starts with our Father, right? It's a corporate thing. And that's what spiritual community is about, our spiritual, individual, and corporate. The Sermon on the Mount is about human flourishing. That is what the word in Greek, makairos, the word that we tend to translate as blessed, but it's not a good translation. It means more perfection in our lives, even in the midst of, as the Sermon on the Mount with the Beatitudes begins, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Even in the midst of, despite, unhindered by the struggles of life, God's purpose for us, his desire for us is that we flourish, because this is a picture of his kingdom. That is what the church is. It is a spiritual home. It's not just simply something that we're building individually, but it's something that God is building, because it's God's kingdom. It's God's church. It's not ours. And you see, the key to understanding the Lord's Prayer is contained with these are in heaven, or not this. And the interesting thing about the Lord's Prayer, we call it the Lord's Prayer. Why do we call it the Lord's Prayer? Well, just kind of at face value, we look at the Lord's Prayer and we're like, it's our Lord who gave it to us. Our Lord Jesus gave us this prayer. Therefore, it is the Lord's Prayer. The disciples came to him and said, Lord, teach us how to pray. In other instances when he talks about the Lord's Prayer. But it's not just the Lord's Prayer because our Lord gave it to us, but it is the Lord's Prayer because the prayer itself, which is very interestingly at the very center of the Sermon on the Mount. The Sermon on the Mount is Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7. It's a total of 111 verses, and the Lord's Prayer is right smack dab in the middle, like 55 or so verses in. The Lord's Prayer is at the center of the Sermon on the Mount. It's not just a litmus test to actually how much we consider the Lord to be the Lord of our lives. That is why, and horizontal petitions, prayers, are open. The thing about the Lord's Prayer